The Dodge Charger, known for its big V8 and smoky what? That's the wrong one? Oh, okay. The Dodge Charger, even though it has 4 doors, it comes with 700 and... What? It's still the wrong one? Okay. The Dodge Charger, it has 80 horsepower, and to the rear what? It's front-wheel drive? What the fuck? The 4th generation Dodge Charger was killed off in 1978. Now that's probably the Charger that you think of when you think of the Dodge Charger. It looked similar to the 1st gen of the late 60s and early 70s. After the oil crisis, they didn't sell well, so they killed it in 78. In 1979, they made a sporty version of the Dodge Omni, called the Dodge Omni 024, or also known as the Plymouth Horizon TC3. They're the same car, just one under Plymouth, one under Dodge. It came with 70 horsepower, and it had a 1.7 liter Volkswagen engine in it. In 1981, the Dodge Charger name came back as a package for the Dodge Omni 024. It was called the Charger 2.2. It cost $400 more than the regular Omni 024. Came with a hood scoop, quarter window appliques, I think that's just like graphics, revised gear ratios, a rear spoiler, came with 84 horsepower out of its 2.2 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. And it's front wheel drive. It's a front wheel drive Dodge Charger. What happened? Dodge. In 1983, the Omni 024 was renamed to the Charger. In 83, Carrol Shelby got his little fingers on the Charger. He said, I'll take one of those and make it cooler. Instead of focusing on what was under the hood, he decided that he wanted to modify the suspension and the styling to make it look better. It did get a bump in power, with the Shelby Charger making 107 horsepower due to a higher compression ratio. It had a revised transmission, also had a new nose and racing stripes. It got a more free-flowing exhaust to make it sound a little bit meaner. In 1984, you could get an automatic transmission in the Shelby Charger, and the power was bumped from 107 to 110 horsepower. Really big numbers here out of Shelby. And you could get a hood scoop in 84. In 1985 came the Turbo 1 engine. It made 146 horsepower this time, and it was turbocharged out of the same 2.2 liter. In 1987, they stopped production on this 5th generation Charger, the front wheel drive model, and Carrol Shelby got 1,000 of the last produced ones. And he took them to his factory, and he did a little bit of tinkering. He turned some things up. The last 1,000 Chargers that Carrol Shelby bought were named the Shelby GLHS. Now, a little bit of backstory on the name. Dodge Omni had a version called the GLH, which literally stands for the Dodge Omni Goes Like Hell. So they said, we need a name for the Charger now. So GLHS, which stands for, and I'm not joking, this car is officially called the Shelby Charger Goes Like Hell Some More. Like some more, but he apostrophe s'more, like a s'more. Like some more. Badass name. Wow. And every car out of the last 1,000 was optioned in the same way. All of them were black and marked as a Shelby and not a Dodge. By the federal government, they were recognized as Shelby manufactured vehicles. The Shelby GLHS used the Turbo 1 engine from before, but took the intercooler and the piping from the Turbo 2 engine, along with some other upgrades like longer intake runners and things like that. Made 175 horsepower. The GLHS also got a stronger transmission and Coney shocks and struts. It came on Goodyear Eagle tires. And on the Speedo, they literally just put a sticker on it where it would wind all the way around and go to 125 miles an hour. Because the original one only went up to 85, so they just slapped some stickers on the bottom to make it read 125. And it will wind all the way back to the 5-mile-an-hour number to go 135. I think this is a super, like, cool, weird car. They tried to do what Ford did with the Fox body. This is the same era as the Fox body. This is the early 80s. Before the Fox body got fuel injected, the Charger was fuel injected, but it was a 4-cylinder, it was front wheel drive. I would like to talk to whoever at Dodge thought it was a good idea to start this trend of putting famous name from cars onto cars that do not deserve it. This was never a Dodge Charger, let's be honest. This was, call it whatever you want, but it was not a Charger. The Charger is a rear-wheel drive muscle car with a V8 in it. And Dodge went back to that, obviously with the new Charger, with the Hellcat and things like that. Even though it had 4 doors, it was still big V8 rear-wheel drive. Dodge started this awful trend of naming cars after popular cars that manufacturers have sold in the past, like the Mustang Mach-E, the Mitsubishi Eclipse, which is not an Eclipse, it's a crossover. Call it something else, it's a cool car, whatever, call it anything else. Dodge has now killed the Charger again. Please don't do this again. It didn't work. They sold a surprising amount of these, I'll be honest, like 50,000 in 1 year, which is, who bought this? Oh, I drive a Dodge Charger. No, you don't. You just don't. Just not the same thing. In 1981, you could buy a Dodge Charger that was front-wheel drive, a hatchback, and came with 84 horsepower. What kind of dystopian world was that? What kind of oil crisis time? What did the 80s do to cars? Because that sounds like a Honda Civic, not like a Dodge Charger. Let's be honest. A hatchback? Front-wheel drive? And it was really slow. The one with 84 horsepower, the first one in 83, went 0 to 60 in like 9 seconds, like 9 point something, which even for the 80s is really slow. The Mustang did it in 6. That just goes to show you how far turbocharging and horsepower technology has come and how far it has to go. These people make 500 horsepower with a 4-cylinder and a turbo. Back then, they wringed everything they could out of that engine to get 146. I thought it was cool that Carrol Shelby like made some weird cars in the 80s that nobody really thinks of. Like when you think of Carrol Shelby, you think the Mustang, you think, you know, the GT500 and the Cobra. Goes to show you, he didn't discriminate. He had his fingers in whatever he could get them on, especially in the 80s when he was a little bit older. He was losing his mind a little bit. All right, that's all I've got. Maybe you're more interested in the Mitsubishi 3000 GT. Maybe you're more of a Japanese guy. You should go watch this video here. If not, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and I appreciate you for watching, and I will see you mañana. Not tomorrow, but I'll see you later. I don't know why I said that. I don't speak Spanish.